That's right, new bike day's here. Came a little bit earlier than I thought. And for that, we're gonna build it as soon as possible. So I bought a complete Santa Cruz Hightower LT in size extra large frame. I'm swapping out quite a bit on it, so I'm not building it up fully to start with. For the first steps, I wanted to go ahead and get the frame decals on there immediately. I got these Santa Cruz decals from Invisiframe in this kind of pinkish purple color, or magenta if you want to be a little more specific. But I thought the blue and magenta would kind of match the trail engine logo colors. I really like that combo a bit more than the brown. I went ahead and lined up the outer edges of the decals with some painter's tape, just to make sure I could get them real lined up nicely. Another nice thing Invisiframe does with this though is the decals that came in were actually slightly bigger than the original decals on the bike, so they fit over just nicely. The decals on the Santa Cruz bikes don't peel off, so you can't take the old ones off, but these ones again just fit over the old ones real nicely and easy. After getting those decals on there good, thought it'd be good to go ahead and get the stock shock off of there. Start putting the Fox Float X2 on. One thing I noticed pulling the original screws out in the mounting hardware is they were on there pretty good and not very well greased. So went ahead and threw a little bit of grease on there, installed the X2 and had it looking all nice and pretty. Moving on, got started on the Invisiframe. This was the all-consuming Invisiframe, and this by far took the longest for me to do on the bike. Each time you're working on it, you got to go ahead and make sure you clean off the frame of the bike real good. They kind of tell you to use a solvent of some water mixed with baby shampoo to go ahead and get everything easier to do, and you actually spray it directly onto the frame protection. So that you can lay it in place and move it around until you really get it in the right spot. The actual process of putting on the frame protection isn't too hard, but what takes the longest period of time easily is squeegeeing out the water bubbles. This got pretty tedious, and after multiple hours of doing it, I was pretty tired of the squeegeeing process. All in all, the Invisiframe took me about 4.5 hours. I started at 12 and finished around 4:45. But once it was on, I was really happy that I did it, and you can see here that everything lines up really nicely, and I have almost full coverage of the frame being protected. After the arduous process of the Invisiframe, it was time to do the easier stuff with the frame up build. Started by putting this MRP chain guide on here and then reinstalling the cranks, followed by installing the fork, the stem, the bars, and then starting with the front brake. Moving on to the rear brake, it was a little bit more involved just because I had to fit this caliper through that rear triangle and the clearance was tight. Best way for me to do this I found was to go ahead and remove that rear collet axle so I could just directly pick up the rear triangle and fit that caliper through to get everything routed nice and clean. After brake installation, it was time to start setting up the drivetrain. First thing to do there was route the shifter housing. It's pretty easy on the Santa Cruz frames. It's fully channeled through the inside, so I just push it straight through. and then get to the back side and start zip tying on the rear triangle part of the frame. Starting on the final steps of the build, went ahead and got the wheels set up tubeless and thrown on the bike so I could get ready to tune the drivetrain and get everything sorted nicely. This was my favorite part of the process, as it's the easiest, since when you start feeling like everything's really coming together, getting the shifting just right and making sure the brakes aren't rubbing too bad on the calipers. After that, the last thing to do was go ahead and get that dropper post installed. This isn't too bad, but it does take a few tries if you really want to get that housing just right. After getting the dropper post installed, bike's ready to go. Take a full look at it. Got a little loosey.